Hello and welcome once again to another edition of Hude Progress Report. And as always, we will be shining a light on the progress being made so far. But we're not just talking about end products. We're talking about efforts being put in place. We're talking about solutions being implemented. We're talking about the path to sustainable development and not just the destination. Welcome once again. I am Amadine Ogbewe.
Good morning. In this very progressive morning, I am Hannah Omokafe Dennis.
And we also have with us here Paul Oladipo to help us break things down. Paul, welcome to the show.
Yes, good morning, guys. It's wonderful to have you under these lights. And
Yeah.
also, I think it's also important. So you mentioned that it's a progressive one. Yes, that's what we're doing this morning. Talking about progress, and it's going to be a wonderful one. And not just talking about where we're going to, but talking about what has been done and also where we're coming from and where we're at.
And how we're going to get there.
Exactly.
So let's go straight into it. Our first news item of the day. The United Nations Development Programme and partners have launched the 7th edition of the Youth Collab National Innovation Challenge. This year's challenge is specifically designed to encourage young entrepreneurs to develop innovative solutions that enhance access to opportunities and well-being for persons with disabilities. The program aims to support 30 to 35 early-stage startups with seed grants and mentorship, driving innovation in areas like assistive technology, inclusive education, and accessible care models. Young entrepreneurs aged 18 to 32 who are passionate about creating meaningful impact can apply. Applications are open and offering a chance for innovators to showcase their ideas and solutions that can transform the lives of persons with disabilities. This initiative seeks to promote disability inclusive development, aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals. By fostering innovation and entrepreneurship, the Youth Collab Challenge empowers young change makers to address real-world challenges and create sustainable solutions. The challenge is being implemented in collaboration with Access Tech Foundation, a leading organization in assistive technology innovation. With its expertise, the program aims to create a more inclusive and accessible ecosystem for persons with disabilities. Sorry about that. Well, this particular challenge highlights how innovation can lead to real solutions that help people. Now, we know that while it says the target is 18 to 32 and the solutions should help persons with disabilities, I think the lesson to learn here is that when you want to create for people or a demography or whatever it may be, you need them as well to say where it hurts or how it is for them. And personally for me, I'm looking forward to all the sort of innovations we could see. We're already seeing things like exoskeletons in the work for persons who might have disabilities related to moving their limbs.
Spinal cord injuries.
Yes, we've seen some more advanced technology where they want to create links where people can communicate to, other appendages and things of such. And I think, again, you have to put your mind, it's not just to put your mind, you have to speak to the people that need these things so that you're not creating a solution that is out of touch, where you feel this is something that will help, but it might end up perhaps even being insensitive if you are not careful. So I think it's a challenge. It's already a challenge, actually, but the challenge is a challenge because you have to ensure that you create an accessible ecosystem for persons with disabilities.
Yeah, to continue where you stopped, Amadi, I believe that is something very beautiful to do. You cannot solve a person's problem except you step into the same shoes that is currently pinching them. So for that particular thing, for people with disabilities, knowing that somebody with a disability is being included in a program to solve a problem that they know about, that's very beautiful. It summarizes everything about inclusion in this day and in this time, indeed.
Exactly. And that's actually the true essence of what the Youth Collab was actually founded for. It was founded and started so as to address issues that pertain to inequality, unemployment, and also sustainability through innovation. And it's wonderful to see that. And one of the things that we should also be expecting when we're seeing innovation and sustainable development and all of those things is that we have to be inclusive, because that's one of the things that the SDGs are actually aligning, talking about inclusive growth. And one thing that this edition of the Youth Collab was focused on is trying to get more assistive tech for those for persons living with disability and other things like that, also in education and things like that.
Yes.
Quickly, let's take a look at our verified voices to see what our verified voices are saying on this particular matter. This particular one is a tweet from the Youth Collab right there in Asia. It says that meets the Springboard Plus class of 2025. This year's course brings together young social entrepreneurs advancing climate awareness, working with knowledge partners to share with young founders leading community-based climate tech to wellness innovation. And this is wonderful to see. It is just one of their labs that that was there. They have several labs, and around about, I think 30 or 35 founders that were there, and they're also going to be funded.
Yeah, as we can just imagine all the innovation that could come from all of this. Yes. All right, so we'll go.
People.
Indeed. So we'll go on a quick break now. When we return, we'll delve into the next news item. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back from the break. We'll move straight into the next news item. Secretary General has revealed that the world is off track to meet the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, with progress stagnant or regressing in many areas. The report, titled Progress Towards the Sustainable Development Goals, assesses progress made since 2015 and finds that only 35% of SDG targets are on track or making moderate progress. The report highlights areas of concern, including poverty, hunger, and climate change. Despite some progress in reducing extreme poverty, over 700 million people still live in poverty, and the risk of falling back into poverty remains high. The report also notes that global temperatures have crossed the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold, and debt servicing costs for low-income and middle-income countries have reached a record $1.5 trillion. The report calls for urgent action around 6 key transitions to drive transformative change, including food systems, energy access, and climate change. With only 5 years left to meet the 2030 deadline, the report emphasizes the need for sustained multilateral engagement and collective action to achieve the SDGs. Now, this is just what we were talking about in the first story that we talked about. We said that right now there is inclusivity in sustainable development goals, and this is bringing people from several places, including people with disabilities. But right now, this report from 2024 is saying that we have just 5 years to be able to reach 2030, and yet a lot of things have still not been done. And you wonder, with all the large work that is done consistently every day from all the UN bodies, UNESCO, UNDP, UNFPA, you'll be wondering what's still going on. But yes, you could still go outside and you still see that people are still in poverty. There are a lot of kids hawking around the streets. Lots of them are not in school. There are a lot of girls still going through feminine genital mutilation. A lot of them still being given out as children to marriage. You can just imagine what's going on in our society today. But what can we say? We hope for progressivity, we hope for sustainability, and we hope for continuity in good things. Yeah.
Indeed, and like we've always said, it's good to learn from the areas where we have managed to make some progress and then replicate it in other areas. 17%, I think, or thereabouts, or less, when it comes to success rate. It's poor, so to speak. But like we say, it always comes with the message of a call to action, to accelerate action, to do better. And I think in this regard, once again, it's to separate, to be very clear about progress being made in each of the Sustainable Development Goals and how well the different countries are doing. Because when you have an aggregated report, and you don't or you forget to take note of the specific success stories of each region, you might miss the broader picture. So definitely the little success we have is just for us to work on it, build on it, and then get something better. But again, the message that it's a 2030 agenda, so less than 5 years, that should be enough to light the fire under everyone. So that whatever the case may be, we need to be much closer to the goal by the deadline that we have set for ourselves.
Yes, sure.
Indeed.
I mean, and we need urgent action in some areas, specifically in food, energy, climate, and also digital access. Those are the places where we need so much of attention now to be put into it to ensure that we're able to meet our targets by 2030. You said 5 years. Well, let me say, let me tell you clearly that we have less than 5 years to achieve this particular thing. But again, we cannot just say because we have less than 5 years, we don't put work to action. I think now is the time for all of us to try our very best possible between now and even next year to try to increase the percent. I mean, it is possible if there's a will to make it possible, and that's one of the things that we should all be looking forward. We should do our little bit as individuals, do our little bit as community members, and also as a country, and then also as a continent, and then we'll see that we're able to reach even far beyond what we even expect by next year. So again, it's a progress report, and we are seeing progress. Now we know that now we know where we are, and we know where we are going. So the point that we just need to do is now to look for how we get to where we are going from where we are, and that's the point of this. Quickly, let's take our verified voices and see what this particular Twitter user is saying. It's talking about this particular report. It says that Sustainable Development Report 2025 does drop. None of the 17 SDGs are on track globally for 2030. Only about 17% of the targets are actually progressing, and goes on with the charts there, and it's just reiterating what we have already said here. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole lot, yes, and we have at around 35% now. We need more work. We need more hands on deck. We need more people to actually put work to action, and then we'll see growth in all of these regions they are talking about. Yeah. I mean, there are 17, and all of them have babies under them.
A lot of babies.
Like we always say. But if we could just take it a baby at a time, and then we'll see that we are, that is 5% jumps up. So, and maybe by next year, we'll be at 75% already. We're looking at those 25% to achieve for 2030.
Yeah. And it's important not to give up. You know, we have, taking Nigeria as an example, we have so many non-governmental organizations putting in the work in different aspects. A report like that, to an extent, could make the person feel a bit sad. On the flip side, it could also encourage you that
to do better.
There's more to do, and I just have to do the work. And let's hope that is the reaction.
It's a wake-up call.
Indeed.
Continuity.
Let's hope that's the reaction we get. So we'll take our next news item, the final one for today. Now, India and Bhutan have reaffirmed their commitment to bilateral cooperation, with General Dwivedi, Chief of Army Staff, visiting Bhutan to enhance defense ties between the two nations. During his 4-day visit, the general met with Lieutenant Batu Shering, Chief Operations Officer of the Royal Bhutan Army, and discussed ways to further strengthen military bonds and strategic defense cooperation. In a separate development, India and Bhutan concluded their development cooperation talks in New Delhi, reviewing the progress of projects approved in previous rounds. The Indian delegation, led by Secretary Tanmaya Lal, and the Bhutanese delegation, headed by the Foreign Secretary, discussed various components of the support and reviewed the implementation of projects. 10 new projects were approved, covering sectors such as healthcare, connectivity, and urban infrastructure in Bhutan. The visit and talks underscored the deep-rooted and time-tested ties between both countries, reflecting a shared vision of progress and unity. India's commitment of a number of funds for a 5-year plan demonstrates the country's dedication to supporting Bhutan's development goals. With these strengthened ties, both nations are poised to further enhance their bilateral cooperation and work towards a more prosperous future. Well, it starts out by mentioning how they're bolstering ties in terms of defense, but it goes on to expand on how the different sectors they're collaborating on. And I think the way it's seen on the international scene is, as long as there's cooperation, especially amongst neighbors or close regional bodies, it's already a step in the right direction, because if there's a bilateral tie, the chance of there becoming or there developing some sort of conflict is not as much. So it's better to have a working relationship where, and the old tested saying about put your money where your mouth is. There's humongous amounts of funds being pumped into this partnership, which shows there is belief in it. And I do hope because even part of the SDGs is preaching peace.
Yeah.
Conflict is not good for anybody at the end of the day. So I think it's good to see how it continues across the region and the world.
Yeah, we can see in this time, in this day where we're seeing lots of countries going against each other, you can just imagine that these two countries are coming together to say, you know what, we're going to do things differently, we're going to do things in a very peaceful manner, we're going to do things in a very matured manner. And that's something to look out for, to see the progress that this particular relationship will bring between India and Bhutan.
Exactly, no doubt. I love seeing when two people collaborate, come together to do something, to achieve a common goal. And that's what that's one of the things that we're saying. Even bringing down to the SDG, one of such is collaborative efforts even within the SDGs. And this is what we're talking about. You cannot do it alone. There's a proverb that says that a tree doesn't make a forest. And so we want to see more of these collaborations. We need public collaboration, private, public-private, and all of these things, just to ensure that we're able to achieve all of these things. But it's nice to see that they are focusing on specific areas as well, even with their collaboration, talking about healthcare, infrastructure, and also connectivity. And we're expecting improvements from these regions in the coming days. And it's wonderful to see. It's wonderful to tell the stories of things like this. And it's wonderful to see that two countries can come together on the same table and agree and shake hands and smile and drink tea over it. Let's take our verified voices quickly. This is a tweet, just retweeting what we've said already on this table. This is coming from Randy Jafshan. It says that the 4th Indian Bhutan Development Corporation talks of the 13th 5-year plan of Bhutan were co-chaired by the Foreign Secretary and also the Secretary of the West. They reviewed the full spectrum of the Indian Bhutan development partnership towards realization of the shared vision of His Majesty, the King of Bhutan, and the Prime Minister of India. And that's the two representatives from each country that's shaking hands. Wonderful to see. I really love to see things like this, partners in development. That's what they call themselves. And that is what we want to see. More partners in the development space so that everyone grows together.
Yeah.
The growth is at once and we're not leaving anyone behind. And that's actually the goal, to ensure that we leave no one behind.
Indeed. We will also not be leaving our viewers behind. Do join us next time. We'll be here once again for Hude Progress Reports. Bye for now. I am Amadine Obewe.
And I'm Hannah Omokafe Dennis. Thank you for joining us today.
I mean myself, Paul Olatipo. Thanks for watching.